anything.
So let's keep in mind who's buying this stuff. The estimates are about 2/3 of all ETFs are held, not traded, but held in an account directed by a wealth manager. That today, the big elephant in the room that we hardly ever talk about is the public wants their hand held. They want to be given professional management. It used to be, to put the metaphor on it, it used to be some manager in a big office building in New York or Boston that was running a fund. Today, it's an Edward Jones manager. There are 13,000 wealth management firms in the United States employing 460,000 wealth managers, and they have 43 million accounts, which is 75% of the net worth of the United States, is being directed at some point at the wealth management community. The reason that that has gotten so big is we've created a very efficient tool for them, the ETF. Half those 13,000 firms are 2 people or less. How do I manage a fund? How do I manage an allocation without having some big bank? Well, I could do it with ETFs. I can buy you some stock ETFs, some bond ETFs, some international ETFs, some alternative ETFs, and I could move you around a lot. Why do we have this insane fee war in ETFs? You've seen the numbers that Vanguard cuts their corporate bond ETF fee 1 basis point below the BlackRock, and $6 billion flows into it, and $6 billion out of the other one. How does that happen? Because the robo-advisors and all of the other advisors, their model portfolios, they instantly change. It's not that the dentists or the doctors are saying, oh, wow, I could trade out of this into a lower fee. It's the wealth manager, because if he can compress down the fees of the ETFs, that's more vig for him. So that's been pushing us all the way to negative. So the wealth manager's been driving all of this. And behind all of that, why does a person go to a wealth manager? Because if you have some wealth, let's put some demographics on somebody who's got some wealth. You're 50 plus. You've seen 2000, you've seen 2008. And your biggest concern is not appreciation of money, it's I don't want to have another 50% haircut. If you were really concerned, if you really thought about risk, I don't need a wealth manager. I can buy SPY or some version of that. I don't need to go, but you go to a wealth manager, and what do? They put you in some version of the 60-40 portfolio. And that seems to have worked tremendously, and not seems, it has worked tremendously over the last couple of years, including 2019, had its best year in 22 years. And if you look at the flows, it's not surprising that over the last 5 years, 60% of the money that's gone into ETFs has gone into equities, and 40% has gone into fixed income. So all of this money is being driven by the wealth manager. I think that a lot of people underappreciate the role that the wealth manager has in the flows and the asset allocation decisions in the United States right now. And as we talk today, it's worked tremendously for them. Now, if we get inflation and you get that falling of stock and bond prices together, that could be a real game changer for a lot of those 13,000 managers explaining to those $43 million accounts, or 43 million accounts, why you're losing money. But that's really what's driving this right now. It is the wealth manager.
There's also a lot of herding mentality that's camouflaged as being customization with like robo-advisors. You fill out a spreadsheet and you get a solution, as they call them these days, for your needs. Unfortunately, everybody's spreadsheet's identical. Every single person says, my personality of investing is growth with safety. Every single person says that, growth with safety. And everyone says, well, when do we want to retire? And they put in the same number, and how much money, and they all get exactly the same solution. So once you get to an unwinding of the herding mentality, you exacerbate the magnitude of the movement.
Right. I mean, otherwise, you're right. You get that herding mentality because if my answer was different, I want risk. I want to make a lot of money. I don't need the Schwab robo-advisor. I can just go out and buy some double-levered ETFs on my own in 5 seconds and I'm done. But there's not a lot of people that do that. They want their hand held. And that's what I think has been lost in this passive-active debate. It's not that the public says, oh, I can do it on my own. It's that they've shifted to the wealth manager, and the wealth manager's pushing them into these holistic 60-40s that seem to be working